Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. As we've discussed many times, Rachel Reeves is destroying the economy. She's the worst Chancellor ever, and her policies have destroyed utterly the economy of this country, and it's continuing to go. But I think that what she has done so far is the work of an amateur, because the real destroyer of worlds has yet to begin her crusade in the utter destruction and final destruction of the economy. And the person concerned here isn't even the Chancellor of the Exchequer. It's Angela Rayner. Now, I'm sure that millions of people up and down the nation know that they have certain rights that they can exercise with regards to work. But Rayner wants to extend those rights. Rayner wants to make those rights so powerful that employers will basically fire people because they just don't want to hire them anymore. Businesses will fail. Businesses will move abroad. Other people will benefit. People in other countries. An employer should have the right to say, this is the job and this is the salary. And if people want to do the job under those terms for that money, that's up to them. It must be a private arrangement. Sure, you get your entitlement to, say, holidays and sick pay and whatever, but anything beyond that is government interference. And when you have a government interfering in the way companies run, you're turning into a communist state, aren't you? A planned political economy. Now, if they put their wares up and say, this is the job, this is the conditions, this is the money, and no one takes up their offer, then they've either got to ease back on the controls, make the job more attractive, or pay more money. Purely market-based. Which is why, of course, as an aside, food is so expensive, or food would be more expensive if we weren't reliant on slave labour in this country, because we bring in foreigners to go and work in the fields at very much below market rate, let me tell you. But if a job is horrible and they're forced to pay more, then that's fine, that's the job. But that's not what Angela wants. Because Angela, dear sweet Angela, seems to think that she should have the right to control how companies up and down the country employ people and say, you do this and you do that. She wants the unions to have the power, unelected unions. At least politicians, you can vote them out. You can't vote unions out. But, comrades, up and down the country, your rights are about to be expanded. Your rights as an employee will be strengthened. The only problem is, of course, you're not going to have a job. She wants immediate rights for workers, meaning day one, you're protected from unfair dismissal. Currently, you can't go for unfair dismissal until you've been at a place for 2 years. So if you turn up and you're not very good at the job, or you're making too many mistakes, you're not learning quickly enough, companies should have the right to get rid of you. You're unsuitable for the position. But no, under Angela's rule, you turn up day one, you're rubbish at it, they can't fire you. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's problematic. And that's the one thing, on top of the financial problems that Rachel Reeves is imposing, you're going to have these problems, employment problems, that are being put in by Rayner, a woman who's never really had a job. She claims she worked as a care assistant, but it wasn't for very long. She can never say exactly how long. There's so many different occurrences of, I did it for so long, and so on. Because the truth is, she hardly did it at all before getting involved with the union side. Banning 0-hour contracts, which is odd considering how many people are on 0-hour contracts employed by the Labour Party. Flexible working will be made the default, even though the Department of Work and Pensions this week announced that people have to come into the office and that they're removing this right to flexible working. It's as though the two departments don't talk to each other. It's as though both the people who run these departments are morons. I don't think there's a question about that one. I want to see how I want to see how a bricklayer works from home, though. That'd be interesting. But you will have the right to. This is the really weird thing. Now, work from home was one of those things that you couldn't do. Oh, no, all these jobs, you can't do them from home until COVID, and all of a sudden you could. Now, I'm going to say it's going to be very hard to get people back in. I appreciate that. But I do think that there should be minimum times in office, and you can rotate them because, you know, you've got to have it. Because if everyone works from home, just get rid of the offices. Turn the offices into homes, you know, cure the housing problem. But it will also do a buzzkill on the town centres, and that's another set of businesses up the Swanee, isn't it? Little Angel, as we could call her, has said that she's doing all this because the trade unions need the power back. When the trade unions had the power back in the 70s, see what I did there? They misused it to such an extent that Britain had to go cap in hand to the IMF because Labour always, without fail, get it wrong. There's never been a Labour government that's left Britain better off at the end of its term than at the beginning. And a strong union means nothing gets built, because as soon as you have a strong union, productivity goes through the toilet, because the bosses want you to make more and the unions are saying, right, out all on strike. Why? And I remember this. This is absolutely true. I remember Vauxhall went on strike once because one of the line managers sped up the line so that they would make one extra car a day. And this had come down from management saying they need to make this extra car a day. They say that one car a day makes the difference because of the way that the market was going. This would be in the 80s. And Vauxhall came out on strike for 2 whole days over that. Management relented, of course. But they didn't relent for long, because what management said was, well, because of that, because of the losses, we're going to have to close this down. And so what happened was they got rid of the canteen. And then they were all moaning. And then the management said, unions, blame the unions. If you wanted your subsidised canteen, that extra car a day was going to pay for it. And instead of having a subsidised canteen, they had no canteen whatsoever. Unions, run by geniuses. Well done. And well done, Angela. Think it's bad now. Wait until all the companies are laying everybody off and not hiring, and especially not hiring young people, or leaving the country altogether. And who can blame them? Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.